Cal has been pretty explicit that, Keon and Khalil and EJ, those three, when all these other guys have kind of had their moment where they've risen up. Those three are now kind of the pivotal pieces. How do you, as a staff, do you focus more on those three, trying to kind of drag them along now?
I think our focus is on every individual that's here. It's a process. Each guy is on their own kind of path, and that never wavers, when you're in our shoes as an assistant coach. When you make a commitment to a kid and to a family that you're going to work with them, from the day that they're here, both on the physical and the mental. And sometimes with young kids, the mental is more important than the physical. They need confidence, and Cal has talked about that oftentimes, that you build your confidence by getting in the gym. And I think that as a staff, we're pleased with where those guys are right now in terms of their commitment to improving and becoming their best version. And when it's their time to break through, it'll be their time. Our staff, much like probably everybody in the Big Blue Nation, wants it to be yesterday, but hey, we got to hope that it's Tuesday night.
Does Nick become a guy now that you all hold up as everybody's on their own timeline, and just because it's not happening for you now doesn't mean it's not going to happen?
I mean, Nick is a guy who's worked since he's been here, and I think that Nick has not arrived by any means. Nick's played well in the last couple games, and I think if Nick was answering that question, he would say that he's got a ways to go. That's not a slight towards Nick or anything. It's the fact of our guys come here to become their best version, and your best version has always got to be, how good can I be today, and then what do I need to get better at tomorrow? Nick's had that approach. I think he's gained confidence off of some good games, and I think that for us, we've just got to continue to coach him up and put him in the positions where he can be best used for us, and for him to continue to gain confidence.
Joe, what can you tell us? What can you tell us about Ashton's status? Is he going to play, not play?
Yeah, I think it's day to day. We had a very cerebral day yesterday after the game that we played Saturday. We came back yesterday, watched film like we always do, and had some, more of a scripting walkthrough day, and we'll see kind of where he is today. But I think for us, it's day to day, and at this time of the season, everybody's starting to get a little bit banged up. So that's not any different, than any of the other 13 guys on our roster.
Will he try to practice today?
I don't know. I imagine he will, but you never know with what the medical folks say. But I know our guys love to practice. I think that's why our team is getting better. So I think they're going to be, wanting to practice as much as they can, just like they want to play.
What makes a guy like Anthony Edwards so good? Sorry.
I'm sorry?
What makes a guy like Anthony Edwards so good?
Well, I think the number one thing is he has a tremendous package of gifts that are God-given, and I think he's a young man that's a hard-working guy that plays to his strengths. When you have talent, the best thing that you can do is do what you do well and do it often.
What do you think of Emmanuel as a stopper? It seems like he got Wara. He defended him. How much is he in that role?
Well, I think that the one thing that Cal talks about on the defensive end, and our staff really tries to hit on, is defensive confidence. That's something that travels. It should carry over into postseason. It should go from freshman to sophomore to junior to senior. And I think that's something that we teach here a lot, is how do I build my defensive confidence. And if I'm not making shots, if I'm not playing extremely well, or as well as I would think on the offensive end, your defense, is based off of your effort. It's based off of your preparation. And Emmanuel is a guy who, in his second year, has stepped up. He's a guy that has paid greater attention to multiple positions, in our walkthroughs. And I think that that's what you want and you need out of these veteran guys, these being Nick, EJ, Ashton, Emmanuel, and obviously you throw Nate Sestina in that mix. Your veteran guys have got to help you win games at this time of year and drag your younger guys along until they break through.
I see Riley Welsh coaching up some of the guys, Nate, Keon before some of the games. I know he's got big-time coaching bloodlines with his dad as a Clippers coach. What do you see from him and his coaching future?
I think our guys, anyone that comes here loves basketball. It's a tough place to be. It's a tough place to work if you don't love basketball, and that's something that we talk about a lot, in the recruiting process with the 5-star guys, and it's something that we, have to offer to guys like a Johnny David or now a Riley Welch. It's a great opportunity, to be coached by a Hall of Fame coach like Cal, and to work with a great staff, minus myself, but Kenny and Tony are guys that have accomplished so much in their careers, and Riley is an important part of our team, just like Tyrese Maxey or Emmanuel Quickly or Ashton Hagans. I think he's a guy that we're excited and blessed to have around.
In practice, you can see when a guy is about to get it. Did you see that out of Nick over the past couple of weeks or since the Christmas break? Because he has obviously blossomed a little bit here.
I think Nick's a guy who, pounds the rock every day, and it's a story that, there's a rock in front of your front door and you hit it once a day, you hit it twice a day, some days maybe 5 times, and eventually one day it breaks into 1,000 pieces and you're able to get through. Did the rock break on that one day or did it break over time? And I think that's Nick Richards. He's a guy who has pounded the rock since he got here, in the weight room, taking care of his body, his diet, and then obviously on the court. He's a guy that has high expectations for himself, and we have high expectations for him. So I don't think it's a surprise, but I think it definitely sets the bar a little bit higher now.
Is there anything different about a practice leading into the first road game to kind of get these young guys prepared for an environment like that?
No, I think that we have a rhythm of practice whether it be, as I said earlier, after a game or now day before a game. I think for us, it's a time to make sure that you're sure of what you're wanting to run. Our game plan is further along today than it was yesterday. I think for our young guys, they now understand after being in one league game how good the players are, and they understand how good the other team is going to be, and now going into a hostile environment, that it will be like down there. You've got to hope that they're focused and what they can control, they control, and that's their preparation, their sleep, and their mental approach to the next 24, 48 hours.
When you looked at Ashton getting hurt, what did it look like? I get the idea that there was not a whole lot there.
I don't know. I think at that point we were trying to finish the game off.
I thought maybe you looked at film or something, looked at it.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I know the doctors looked at it. I think it's kind of like we talk about with our players. You kind of control what you can control, and if Ashton's available, he's available. If he's hurt, he's hurt. And, our job is to go out and grab a roster of guys that can step up, and if the guy's out, it's the next man up. And I think that Cal and our staff has the utmost confidence in the other guys. If Ashton can't play, just like he could in the last couple minutes of the Missouri game, we were able to finish that off, and I think we'll start, tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. And if he's there, great. If he's not, I think we have confidence in the other guys that are ready to step up.
What's he mean? What does his usual contribution mean?
Well, I think Ashton, is a guy who starts our defense. And Cal's always said, your identity on defense starts on the ball, and that's obviously an important part of how we play and how Coach wants to coach. I think he gives the other guys confidence. He is a player that gives us defensive identity, and that's, when Cal's teams have been great, that's what they've always had, is a defensive identity. And if he's not out there, that means somebody else is going to have to pick up that slack.
Joel, it seems like Nate's shooting is so valuable to you guys, and that showed itself in that outburst against Ohio State. What is the counterpunch to the counterpunch when teams take away that pick and pop and start switching and trying to disrupt his ability to give you guys that?
Well, I think any time that you have somebody on the floor that's skilled, that can shoot, that can pass, that can read the game like Nate can and does, it opens up different things for the other guys, the other four guys. Much like when we had Derek Willis here. He spread the floor for Jamal Murray. He spread the floor for Malik Monk, great scorers. He opened the floor up for great guards like Tyler Eulis or De'Aaron Fox. And then on both of those teams, a driving power guard like Isaiah Briscoe. That's what Nate brings to this team is a threat, but also a skilled guy that plays facing the basket. So when he's out there, he gives you a threat, and sometimes the best thing that he can do is never have the ball because it opens up the floor for the other guys.
Was that game in that way, for him to go so off from three, valuable going forward for that reason, just to put it out there that he really is that threat for you all? You think it's
I think it was a great game for him individually. I think it was a great game for us to see. But most importantly, it was an important thing for him and a time for him to see the ball go through the hole and regain a little bit of his mojo back and to do it on a big stage against a great opponent, a great defensive opponent, like Ohio State. It has to give him, it has to give Coach Cal and the rest of our team confidence moving forward.
Joel, for one more guy, for a guy like Tyrese, who really thrives in big games, how does he balance tomorrow a matchup with Edwards, using that for good and not turning it into a one-on-one kind of battle?
Well, I think Tyrese now has, 15 games under his belt and almost 100 practices against great players. Tyrese is a guy who comes out to practice every day with a kind of hard hat on, and he works. Yes, he loves the big games, but I think that he values what he's about to do here for the next 2 hours in practice, because he's going to go up against other great players that, in our opinion, and is his opinion as well, are just as good as anybody that he's going to play any night. That's why Tyrese gets better, because he comes in here every day to practice, and he gets to practice against great players for 2 hours, not just 40 minutes.
All right, thanks, folks.